The Pirates Roundtable is brought to you by the original nationally famous Clark Bar and Grill.
Pirates Roundtable Show, featuring Tribune-Review Bucks beat writers Rob Biertemple and Bill West.
The Cubs in town for a couple days this week, and then the Pirates will see that same team again next week. They were the sexy pick,
yes,
I guess, in the preseason. Did you have them? Or where did you have them, I guess?
I was one of the bigger skeptics, I guess you'd say, or at least thinking that it's a year or two away. But certainly what they did last night against the Pirates seemed to indicate they're closer than I gave them credit for. Chris Bryant, after his 0-for-4 start with 3 strikeouts, that seems to be the aberration more so than the guy that is going to strike out a lot.
Yeah.
He looked fantastic. Jorge Soler, however you say his name. 4 for 5, just also really, really solid. And today the Cubs bring up Addison Russell, who's another one of their top 10 MLB prospects to be middle infielder. It's just they're kind of a scary team when you look at the the next 5 years.
Yeah, you could already see last season. I remember at the beginning of the year, the Pirates played them a lot and just beat the pulp out of them. It seemed. By the end of the year, not so much. The Cubs were a different team then, I think, and some of that was just, I think, battle scarring and going through some of that and getting through a lot of that. And some of it is the fact, like you say, they've got a lot of talent and they're bringing it up to this, to the major league level now, and it's so young. I mean, that's the one thing we hear about the Pirates prospects, and they do have a lot of them, and they follow the progression. But it always seems, with maybe a couple of exceptions, by the time they get to the major leagues, the Pirates prospects are we're talking 26, 27-year-old guys. These Cubbies, they're 22, 23. And that infield, it's going to be maybe the best infield in the National League by the end of the season. Once
exactly,
they all
I mean, like I said, certainly in a year or two you think they're going to be in that, realm, that elite level, but it might be by the end of this season, which, again, I think is the people who were talking about them as a postseason qualifier and potentially even a World Series champ. That's what they're thinking is that, again, the Bryants, Russells, even Rizzo's really young. I think he's in his mid-20s.
Yeah.
So
I had a similar prediction for them coming into the season as you did. Wasn't because of maybe skepticism, it was more because, you know me, I'm like the anti-stat guy. That's my rep. I'm more on the intangible side of it, and I just think it would take a while for all those guys to settle into their roles because they're all so young, and they're kind of coming in from different organizations to a degree as well. But that hasn't seemed so far this year. We're only a couple of games in.
You do wonder if they run into some adversity, how will the guys deal with it then, especially the young guys, and who are the elder statesmen and the leaders in that locker room that when they hit a hard patch, and certainly all teams do at some point in the season, will they be able to keep it together? And maybe it's a John Lester or something like that. But again, that.
And even he's shown some ability to adapt, as we saw last week when he threw his glove.
Yes, entire glove to first base.
No problem with no yips there if you throw the whole glove, I guess. So, and it's interesting because that kind of ties in with what I wrote about last Sunday with the Pirates and kind of that intangible thing. When they hit a rough spot, and they had the past couple of years, the one thing that helped them pull out of it, as opposed to the couple of years before that, was I think they just had it. That whether you want to call it leadership, veteran presence, slow heartbeat, as Clint is going to say a billion times between now and the end of the season, they just have it. And sometimes you can put a team together and never find it, but they do have it, and I think it'll be interesting to see if the Cubs have it, if they can develop it, to get through the season quicker or whatnot.